collectively as a unit, we've got to play better. And hey, listen, when I'm wearing the hat, whoever that I is, right? You understand you're going to have to make the play in those moments. And we're going to keep trying to, find ways to not always have the same person with the stress. And I did not do a good enough job in those moments tonight to get that thing moved around well enough.
Brad, where were you? Obviously been in this league a while, and a lot of good quarterbacks. But where would you rank Pavia?
I know he's really good, and I thought he obviously played a really good game. His ball placement we talked about going into this game was really good, and something that I was really impressed with. And on those deep balls, he put them right where they needed to. Credit the receivers; they did a great job. Running with pace, making some tough contested catches down the field too. And so, credit to them. We need to do better.
Brad, did you feel like the secondary was mentally prepared to execute the calls?
Yeah, I thought, I thought we were ready. I thought, they were going to be able to handle it. And again, whether it's me, whether it's a player, every one of us will say we did not do a good enough job. The game plan wasn't good enough, obviously, and so we'll go back, we'll take a look, figure out what we can do. And there's some things that, again, those guys in that locker room, they're not going to shy away from their plays that they know they can make.
Brad, what's just the conversations on the sideline when it feels like they're trying to get some style points for the playoff and Pavia's Heisman or whatever, and having as much success down the stretch? I guess, how are your guys responding to that in the second half in terms of that pride level you would hope they would have in those situations?
Yeah, listen, there was no conversations about anything but, hey, if we don't want them to score, we got to get off the field. That's our damn fault. So, we were trying to make the corrections as necessary on the sideline. That we could do that. Obviously, nobody wants to be, in a situation where they're down big, and I didn't feel like they quit. I just don't feel like we executed.
It was back at media days. You were talking to us about having to coach resiliency. So it's going to get tested again. Are you confident they're going to be able to pass that test?
Listen, here's the thing. Do I want to? It's easy for me to stand up here and just say, yes, I think they're going to be resilient. Those are words. It's. They're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it. As coaches. I can't just stand up here and they've got to be it's not the resiliency isn't just the players. It's the coaches. Trust me, everybody is hurting, right? The coaching staff, and you're you pour a lot into a week, and you think you've put together a plan, you really don't know, right? And obviously it falls flat. And so you as a coach have to stand up and say, okay, I own that, and let's go back. And the players have to do the same thing. And so that's what we're going to do. Am I confident that they're going to bounce back? Yes. I do. Do I think they have character? Yes. But we got to play better. It doesn't matter how, I feel. They actually have to go do it. We have to do it as a staff. We have to get back in that room and not point fingers. No, this call or this coverage or this player or this group, whatever. Listen. Resiliency in a team starts with the game plan, starts with the staff, and then we that trickles down to the players. And those players have to then feel it, and they have to execute, and they have to hold each other accountable. And do I think that we have the character in that room to do it? Yes. But we have to go out and do it.
Last one for Brad.
What do you see on that targeting call?
I'm going to be honest, I was, it was going into a third down, so I was kind of in a third down mindset, and then they said, hey, they're reviewing for targeting, so now you're trying to think, okay, I got to have a third down call ready, and then, okay, if it's a target. So I didn't see it. I'll have to look back on film. I know, it hurts. I know that kid personally. There's no intention or to go do anything but try to make a tackle.
Bush, you've talked a lot about being more aggressive over the last month. It didn't feel very aggressive early. Was that a change of philosophy there, or was just not being able to move the ball early for you to get in?
Well, they would just struggle to move the ball all night, and I think
was pretty apparent probably even halfway through the first quarter. We needed to use tempo. And we couldn't even get in a rhythm to get it going, to be quite honest with you. And so I just felt hats off to Vanderbilt and the job they did, posed a lot of issues. Got beaten in every facet.
Which one was the problem with the run game?
Again, there were certainly a lot of looks, a lot of pressures into the run game. And my number one thing, I had the feeling of the tempo, and we had to get to the tempo, but we also had to get a first down and get some things going to get into the tempo. And so I just felt, every play, it was coming from the field, it was coming from the boundary. We just really were unable to get anything going, both in the run game and some of the manage the perimeters that we had, really done a good job of in the last month.
I think they put up 72 points in their last 2 games. What were they doing differently coming off a bye? Maybe they weren't getting those games.
Again, you never know. I know in the, certainly in the Auburn game, they were able to play fast and vanilla them up, if you will. And again, that's the biggest regret from tonight. I really felt we needed to do so. We needed to play faster. Initially thought we were going to be able to play and run the ball better and be more physical all across on the perimeter. But we just struggled to find the rhythm to even, get some of the tempo going until later in the game.
Coach, there's a lot on the line next week, trying to get back bowl eligible, to get those. Coach Stoops has talked about the importance of getting those extra practices, getting those extra reps, all that goes into that. How do you guys get the offense back on track and some of that regain some of that momentum you've had in the last few weeks with the important one next week?
I think everybody knows, offensively, defensively, it doesn't matter. Every week has a life of its own. We've been there before, and just so we take those wins and the high highs, and we got to deal with the low lows, and we got to come right back Sunday, ready to go back to work and make it a one-game season for us. And so this has been a group, a whole team that's put their head down and stayed focused. I've got no doubt in my mind that this group will do so, and it ultimately becomes a one-game season for us.
Coach's splits, home versus away, are drastically different. He's been outstanding at home and away. The numbers don't match up. So do you have an explanation why and how to remedy that?
I think, whether it's home or away, I think, Auburn definitely was an extremely talented group that posed issues, and we found that out again tonight against, a really good Vanderbilt defense. And so whether it's home, it's away, again, you can't be one-dimensional. You got to be able to run it, throw it, all those things, and I'm not sure if it's a home or away thing or if it's just us putting him in the position to be successful.
Bush, how do you juggle kind of the call between, hey, you're down by a lot, there's really no reason to get cut or hurt for next week, versus having him at least get some kind of a rhythm before this game ends?
Yeah, I thought we had that discussion, and I think that's fair. I just, we ultimately felt we wanted him to get all the reps he could get, try to get it out of his hands. But, with a younger guy in these situations, I think it's just valuable to get him as much reps as we can get him right now.
Bush, when he goes out with a apparent neck injury on the tackle, he comes back in the first play, he ends up taking off and out. Was that the design play for him to run that, or were you kind of watching that cringing a little bit and coming back in and taking contact?
Yeah, no, it was not. I believe it was a scramble, if I was right. Obviously, we said it from day one with him. I think everybody knows the toughness that he displays, and for him to come back and be ready to go, sometimes you can't control whether things like that happen. It certainly was not a designed quarterback run by any means or anything.
Last question for Bush.
Coach Stoops talked a little bit about the pre-snap motion that the Vanderbilt defense was doing, but what specifically was it about, the front seven, that they were able to stifle the run game?
I think certainly the edges. I mean, there were nickel pressures, there were corner pressures on every single play. We weren't able to take advantage of it. Like we said earlier, with some of the cheap yards. I think when we look back at it, there were opportunities on the perimeter, and certainly our run-pass style option that we did not take advantage of. Second and long, you guys saw them. They bring 7 guys up, and we played catch up with them back and forth and that, having max protection, whether they're coming, whether they're not coming. Again, it was exactly the game we did not want to play against those guys, and it ended up happening. Obviously, take a look and see what we can do, but we have to flush that, and we've got to move on to the next opponent.
I feel like this was a tough week, playing, having just coming in, playing against a quarterback like Pavia, but just coming to prepare every week like you're a starter and then play good. So.
Grant, what's the key to sort of getting the car back on the track? Because obviously next week, earn bowl eligibility, get the governor's cup back. There's obviously a lot of this ahead.
For sure, just Monday start a clean slate. This is for our bowl eligibility, like you said. So coming in, putting in the effort, so we can go bowling and get the governor's cup for sure.
Grant, just what were the conversations like on the sideline as it's getting out of hand and you all are trying to, show some pride out there, I guess?
For sure. We still have faith. We still have hope. Just keep fighting. Don't go out there, put on a bad play, get embarrassed or anything. Just keep fighting, put your best foot forward, and then once it got out of hand, it just got out of hand. But we just kept fighting. Just no more dumb penalties like that in the late game anymore. But yeah, just keep fighting. So.
Random practice, it's obviously hard to simulate somebody like Pavia. When you get out there on the field and he's executing like he is, what surprised you the most about him and his ability?
Just his ability to read the defense, and he was a great player in general. He could make passes and his scrambling ability. He was a great player. So.
How much did not having the running game kind of just affect the overall operation?
Yeah, obviously, it affected it a little bit. I mean, we definitely got to be able to run the ball in games like this, but overall, I gotta make better decisions. I gotta make better reads and put us in better down the distance. Like I said, it would have been easier to run the ball if we were doing more things on the perimeter.
How do you make sure that a performance like this doesn't ruin everything that you all built over the last 3 weeks?
No, yeah, it absolutely doesn't. I mean, we've been through it all. We've been through the highs and the lows. This team knows what it feels like to experience all kinds of adversity. So I don't think this will be it's obviously always a challenge to overcome things, but I think the mindset we have in the locker room and the mindset of these guys, we're going to come out next week and put our best foot forward for sure.
How are you feeling? What happened on the play that you got hurt on?
Just got twisted up a little bit. I'm fine. It's nothing though.
I know players and coaches say it's just one game, basket, but how do you not make more out of a final score like this, a lopsided game like this?
Yeah, obviously, we definitely had some opportunities in the first half, and kind of kept shooting ourselves in the foot on offense. We can't go 3 and out like that. We got to maintain drives and sustain, especially with the way their offense plays. Kind of really shortening the game, taking a long time with the ball. We just got to do better with our opportunities we had early on in the first half.
Anything else for Cutter?
We've heard a lot about Diego. I'm just curious, just watching from the sidelines, is there anything that you can take from kind of what he's been able to bring to the table?
Yeah, he does a really good job. I feel like he's his own kind of unique player and his play style, and it works really well for him and works really well for that offense. And he's able to do a lot of good things, and he's a good player.
Sense of what you guys have to do this week.
Yeah, just overall accountability of yourself, this team, and everything we kind of stand for right now. Everybody's prayed to be in the position we're in. Everybody's prayed to be here playing SEC football on this team, and ultimately we got 1 game left, so guys know what's on the line. We're bowl games on the line, postseason play. So these guys know what's at stake. I think just holding yourself accountable to your standards and to our team standards overall. And I think with the adversity we've been through, these guys are going to do a really good job of that.
All right, thanks, Cutter.